Good evening. Whoa, what's going on with the mic levels? Well, hopefully that's good. And let's get started. I don't know what my wallet's doing there. Yeah, let's just stop that music. It's from the Heartbound soundtrack. Once again, that was awesome. Just releasing that, letting everyone play it on streams for free without having to do anything. So that's cool. Yeah, that's actually going to distract me, so I'll just stop that entirely now. Right, I should be looking there, shouldn't I? Going for another dark stream. I kind of like them. They feel a bit more comfortable. Will that one light be? That kind of just looks bad, doesn't it? Let's go with not that light. It's okay. We don't need to see me or my dressing gown or my hurriedly thrown together hot chocolate that has lumps of cocoa in it that I have to deal with. Oh, hey, Adaria, how's it going? So, I'm planning to work on the robot game again today. I do need to get that sandwich shop game started sometime soon. Actually, why don't I click on here, because I actually have it like sort of running here. And I can make it bigger. I can even make that full screen, probably. If I remember. Yeah, well, it's sort of a game now. You have to play both players, because there's no difference between the enemy and friendly ones. Oh no, there is a difference now. So now they actually like have different tags on them, so it means that they will fire past their allies, which means that if you do something like probably just take a step and do 2 shots, so they're not walking on top of each other, but they're closer together. I think that'll get more success. So that's cool, but I've given them shields now, so they can have a. Let's get this second one doing a shielding action, so they can just sort of sit there and flip their shield around. There's also a tiny shield health bar there. The shield health bars are weird with where they sit, but I'll fix that up at some point. So the shields block the shots, and like all of these graphics are temporary. I'm basically getting the behavior working for everything, and then I'll go in and figure out how to change something. That's really working well. That factory there is getting hammered. They're also weird rotated factories, because I didn't want to deal with the flipping them around to get things to spawn the other way. So, yes, without friendly fire, just shooting twice instead of once seems to be a very good strategy. Which doesn't make for a very interesting game, but I'll either need to get some netcode working so that you can play against somebody, or just make the enemy factories do various different things, or not even have enemy factories. Just have something that needs to be defeated. Doesn't have to be robots. But one thing I want to do is today I think I'll try and get it so that you can actually decide whether to build a shield or not. So at the moment they just have shields because I just got them working. But essentially in the factory, when it's selected, you'll be able to customize the robot that's being produced, decide what parts it has. So there could be one that has just a shield and not a laser, so you don't have to pay the resource cost for the laser, but you do for the shield, that kind of thing. And yeah, that's sort of the start of it, but there'll be lots of other parts that ultimately that you can choose. But yeah, this will be the first. This will be getting a choosing kind of system in place. So why don't I set that in the description up here? Current task. We're doing customize. Do I want the ZE or SE? I don't know or care anymore. Parts. That's what a shield is called, a part. So that is what the code will refer to. There we go. I haven't thought at all about how I want to do that system yet, but it's going to be somewhere in the factory that it needs to do that, and I'll need some kind of UI for it. So let's load up Visual Studio. It's still slightly too hot, but that's okay. I'll survive. Just looking over here for no particular reason. It's not opening Dropbox, is it? Right, so I think I've got in my factory, I've sort of got a few comments referring to this. So yeah, I've got sort of three things that you set up in a factory, and one of them is implemented. So we've got parts for the robot, and at the moment that's just the shield that's just attached, and I'll probably in the short term just have that shield be on the prefab, and it just gets enabled or disabled depending whether it's included. Sometime later I might make it so that each of the parts has their own prefab and they get built that way, but I might just end up with one prefab that has every part on, which would probably make it simple to get the animations all working properly for them. It's got this routine, so that's what it has right now. It has its routine when it spawns, and upgrades, that's the other thing. So that's not, doesn't need to add anything in particular like parts, but it's essentially just upgrading. So instead of saying let's, well, concrete example, the default robot that spawns has got 100 hit points, max hit points of 100, and does 50 collision damage when it runs into something. Well, anything that runs into it will take 50 collision damage. So if you could upgrade the hit points, and that would cost more metal, for example, to give it thicker armor, and that would increase the starting hit points and maximum hit points, and then you could do like a higher tier of that would use even more metal and growing exponentially. So you could have a factory that's spending loads and loads of metal to make a really, really tough robot, but it would take ages to do it because you've got to save up the metal in the factory and maybe have the metal coming from the adjacent factories to support it. To get it built soon enough, but I'm not going to tackle that today. I'm just going to do parts today. And examples, laser, it's kind of a built-in part at the moment. I'll probably make a actual like laser attachment at some point and make that one optional as well, but maybe on by default for just the basic robot. Yes, a shield. Another important one is sensors, which I haven't even gotten into. Probably won't do any of those today, but the sensors will be used to be able to, instead of just having this be linear, to be able to slap on for example, a forward sensor that might be able to sense, up to 4 squares in front or something, maybe 3, and if you have that part, then you would have the option to put in something that would split here based on if something is detected. Not sure quite how I'll do that yet, if it'll be like one type of sensor and then you can choose what should be detected, or if you can give it like an enemy sensor and a friendly sensor. And you could have sensors that are sensing straight ahead or sensing in a cone in front or just sensing to the side. So there might be separate sensors that then each have their own sort of fork. It could end up getting very complicated. So at some point I'll probably need to find or make a library to make graphs of these routines in there. But they might only have a limited number of steps in the routine they can have, and that might be another upgrade, being able to upgrade to have more like upgraded processor, so then they can handle more different routine steps. We'll see. That's all distant future. It could be days, weeks, even a month away. So for now, it's still linear until I get a sensor. So shield, how are we going to do it? Okay, there are a few different ways I could basically handle this. So I could do some equivalent of just having like an array of all the parts, or even just individual variables. Like shield. Something like that for each part, but that's not very versatile. Adding a new part means I've got to come in and mess with this code. So better than that would probably be to have a representation of the parts as like an enum robot part. You can call it a robo part, just for fun. And then that's a very weird way to spell shield. And what was that message about? A quick look at that. So we could have I'm not very good at waiting for messages. Cool. Board games and card games. That's going to be fun. Try to play them as often as I can, because I do develop card games as well. Sometimes board-ish games, which I probably should do on stream sometime. I do need to go in and make a card template and a bunch of cards for a prototype that I'm working on. So maybe I'll do that on stream at some point. Because it's at the point where I'm getting slowed down by having to make cards by hand. So if I can get a bunch of printable cards that I can just pop in a card sleeve, I don't even have to print them on card, just have a card in there to give it the rigidity, and then slip a bit of paper in that's got the new card printed, and then I can make tweaks and print them. Yeah, so instead of representing them like this, I could pretty much just have an array of robot parts. Where am I here? Factory, yeah. I could have some included parts there, so that's another way I could do it. I could also have attachment points. Like there might be different parts that can go on different points. So, for example, if there were two sort of arm joints, then you could put a shield on each if you want, or a laser on each. Make a gunslinger, or shield one hand, laser other hand. They should have a sword of some kind as well at some point, so you could build yourself a little knight. So this wouldn't quite cover that. This would just be, yes or no to include those parts, which might be what I end up with today. And then in the editor, when I guess when the factory is selected, I don't know if I'll just have like a UI that shows up somewhere. I'm going to run out of space if I try and cram everything in. So I might have a button to open a modal where you can choose what parts go in your robots, in your robot for that factory. But yeah, it might end up more complicated than this, where there might be a class for parts. I might actually end up making a scriptable object. So if I define a scriptable object for a robot part, I wouldn't call it that. I'd probably just call it robot part. It's probably not going to work in this context because I'm in a class, but essentially that would allow me in the inspector to just define a bunch of parts which would have a kind of set of which slots they can attach to. Like if they can attach to an arm point or like a head point, different mounting points I could basically make on the robot. I am aware at this point that I'm deviating a bit from the scope of what I could get done today, and so I might not do this. But this does seem like the logical way to do it. Essentially, where are we? I've got this. I could draw something in here. Let me just duplicate this. Or grab that. And so I can just copy this and let's just make a new empty frame maybe. And if I do paste on that, will that paste into it? Yeah, let's try just select all and paste there. Well, that pasted a new frame. So I'll just select that other one. Okay, so we've got a little robot here, and that'll do for drawing stuff on. Can I do a new layer? I've not been using layers here. Let's just add one anyway, and just get a bit of, say, green here. Yeah, so I might have this robot, and I might have like a mount here, mount point here, which is, then I just press not E. I figured out what's going on. So R is the blur tool, and E is the eraser tool. And if I'm in writing code mode or typing mode, then I have my pointer finger on F like it's supposed to be. But if I'm playing games, I would have my hand shifted across by one key so that my fingers are on WASD. And so I'll bring my pointer straight up to hit E if I'm gaming, but if I'm typing it, that brings my finger up to R. So that's the problem. So yeah, we might have like a mount point there, which is like a arm mount point, and might have another one like over here at the back that something can attach onto. That's not the same size as the other one. I don't know where it would be exactly. It kind of make more sense on a 3D thing. There could be leg attachment points, or like one like attachment point there, so you could put different types of legs, like jumpy legs or fast running legs, or deploying into a turret legs. And then you could probably have like a weapon mount point on top of the head as well for, you know, kind of an extra head laser or something. And then you could have some sensor mount points. So you could have various forward sensors. Something like that. Maybe like a mount point somewhere on the back for artillery launchers or something like that. So that's a bit of a messy way to do it, but essentially that's what you'd end up with. And then I guess essentially that could be represented by some different mount points. I don't know how to represent them exactly. Like, not sure what would make the most sense. But you could start with points on the arms, and then there's like one like legs chassis thing that the legs can attach onto. Whatever different types of legs you want to do. And then like in the head, some kind of sensor. How would you draw sensors? Maybe something like that. Little thingies. You could fit maybe 2 or 4, something like that. And then your like pointy uppy artillery launcher thingy attachment points so that you can get those on there. And yeah, maybe a little top of head. Put those in a square actually, and then maybe a little top of head thing. Oh, actually, one of the other sorts of things is having robots that can go out and paint a line, and then others that can have like a line following module. So then you could sort of have one robot go out from one factory and get some kind of a track painted, and then all the others can just come out and follow that. Something along those lines. And then there's the ability to go in and mess around with the enemy markings. Right, so let's bring that in. Oh, that's no good. The symmetry is breaking it. So let's turn that off and just bring that in somewhere. Like, let's go there. Same on that side. There we go. I can draw on the back here. I'll just grab this frame here and grab a couple of basic colors. Make sure that I'm on over the back there, and just draw some basic robot-y kind of shapes. Just get that symmetry back on again. Let's go somewhere like there. There. That is a robot. Does it need a neck? I don't know. Yes, I'm using the line tool to draw. I mean the square tool to draw lines and such, but that's fine. That's pretty decent. Close enough. So it looks like I have made a sprite for the robot attachment points, even if I have just been talking about not doing that. But maybe I will start with doing attachment points, but I'll just have some arm attachment points. Someone's gone and spilled splashes of hot chocolate here. And someone's gone and used up all the tissues. Well, I keep this office locked all the time, and I'm basically the only person who goes in here. So it was probably some kind of sneaky thief who snuck in here and did it. That's the only possibility I can think of. All right. So I've got a little highlighty cover. What's that? I want that. No, not pressing the right mouse button. I just can't resist putting a bit of highlights and what have you in there. Yes, it might actually make sense to have like a backpack thing and some kind of front thingy, like a big boxing glove that comes out and knocks the enemy away. Although you could do that with the arm attachments. I guess in the body you might go for things like a upgrader reactor. So that's not really parts though, that's just more on the upgrade side. So that's not a problem. Okay. Yep, that'll do. I'm going to turn this off because it's got that line on there. This is not really a sprite that we even want. Yeah, so I'll just delete that one. That was just me talking about that. And yeah, let's call that the attachment points for now. And just export a fresh copy of that sprite sheet. And so, okay, so what I'm going to have is, at this point now, we'll actually have each attachment point in that factory. So I could encapsulate all that into a little single thing. And I will, because I think I want to represent it on the robots themselves as well. And if I can just set it on the robots, that'll be good. So let me create some scripts for that. Just as soon as this stops compiling. Okay. So I'm going to want a few different things. I'm going to want a robot part. Let's call it robot part. It's just a little bit easier to say and a little bit shorter to type. Okay, so this is going to be a scriptable object for the parts. And then I gotta load in robot part before I can create another one. I'm wondering, I might call this a robo blueprint. So that's going to be the set of which parts are on which attachment points, plus whatever upgrades. Basically what level each upgrade is at. And so that can hold all of that stuff in there. Excuse me. And do I need anything else at this point? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I will need an enum. Modified short reload. That'll actually work now, but yeah, we won't have that one right now, but I will get that enum for the part types. So just let that reload a bit, I guess. Row part, yep. Row blueprint. Just make sure I have those two open at the front here. And this is going to be a scriptable object. So that'll be just a single part from robot that used for a specific type of attachment, or let's say mount point. Mounted on a specific type of mount point. So that's an enum I'll need. Do we want them to be able to go on different mount points? I don't think so. I think it's just, if there's an arm one, it goes on an arm. So that'll be enum. Do you have a thing to create? Generate type mount point. No, it's just that's not how you spell enum. Mount points on the robot. Mount point types. So that's back at this. Just recut up this sprite. And apply that. Okay, so this is our thing there. Let's make it bigger. What size are we? Scale 6.5, 7. Let's go 8. It's not going to stay on this time. Cool. Let's pop that out there right in the middle. And I'll get that onto a UI at some point. But anyway, that's our mount points visible. Okay, so I think we've got arm, legs. So it'll just be like one type of leg so you can swap in. And we've got a sensor. I've got 4 of them on there at the moment. I don't know if that'll be good. Play testing. do that. Let's say backpack and antenna. I think the antenna point would be maybe a possible point I might add, just to if there's any kind of like communication, I could send out a signal that other robots could respond to. But that's way down the list. Okay, so now we've got these mount points. And so each part can go on a particular type of mount point. And scriptable objects do not need start and update. How am I going to refer to these? Like the mount point at this point is not going to be to position them or anything. It'll just be really to get them to choose what to enable. So this robot here, how do we identify the shield? It's named shield. So maybe I'll just give things a name. And then that's going to be my name, and that's literally does that summary show up in Inspector? I think I need to at least do like a tooltip, maybe a label, Inspector label. Sounds good. Is that? Unity Visual Scripting. I can try it, see if it works. So this is like name of part on robot prefab. To find it. And also we'll have I was just thinking a couple of different ways to handle like parts giving you access to different actions. So for example, if you have the shield attached, then you've got a shield, like a block action, but there could be different types of parts that get attached, and those could is that a mum robot Omega Killer? I saw your second message with a smiley face and I didn't see the other one. This is basically just a basic UI to show roughly how the attachment points might work to be able to choose what parts go on the robot. But it can be the mum robot too. It is something you'd select in the factories, and the factory's kind of like the robot's mum. So it's kind of, I guess, whatever's in the factory is the archetype for every robot that gets made. So in the same sense as parents are the archetype for the children before they all get the genes mixed together and randomized. And then the kids end up different. And then you can't live vicariously through the kids properly because they don't think exactly the same as you do. Until we're all robots. You just got to make games yourself. You can't push your kids to be game developers if you feel like you missed out. All right. So where was I before I went off on a random set of funny jokes? Yeah, so basically we've got mount point. We're also going to have abilities that get enabled, and I'm not sure how I'll do that because I could just have a big enum of all of the parts with like, and then like use that enum in the editor, the routine editor, to determine what is available here. Or I could use some other way to refer to these I'm more like Andrew Tate. Let me look up Andrew Tate. I've heard that name before, but haven't. I don't know whether I've just been complimented, insulted, or just neutrally compared to someone. I've seen some videos from that guy. I have done some martial arts, but probably not at the level that he has. Also, he has facial hair, another similarity. Anyway, that's enough time on that diversion. Yeah, where are we? So yeah, we need a way to say when this part is attached, what abilities will it enable? And I think I already have that. Could a part enable multiple abilities? Possibly. If you had a shield that could also shoot a laser out of it, or something like that. And interestingly, if you've got two laser arms, what happens if you select a laser action? I'd say it just fires both of them. So, but this is basically robot action. Robot actions array. So this is actually, we'll do enabled actions like as a array, and the reason for that is if you slap on a pair of legs, like a set of standard legs, they will let you do walking forward, turning left, and turning right. And maybe there are some fancy legs that let you even walk backwards. And there might be also legs that let you strafe. And there also might be a very cheap set of legs, so you can save on the material cost, and that are only capable of walking forward. And so they do not provide the turn left or right action. So yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good because if you make a robot that doesn't have any parts attached, it'll basically just spawn and get dropped here, and it'll be like a brick and do nothing, which would be interesting. And could be a legitimate strategy too, to be cheap, relatively. And then other robots would run into it and get exploded because they just ran into a thing. Probably a better strategy would be to do that, but just all lasers. So just a brick covered in lasers. So yeah, that's sounding fun. Let's get on with this and get some code done. So I've got about an hour to write some code. So yeah, we've got these mount points, which I'll pop into their own file. Like that. So yeah, they each only have a single type of mount point, but there are two arm mount points. So left arm and right arm can have a part that goes on a mount point. And yes, enabled actions. And so this thing will basically need to look at what parts are there, and therefore what can we do. Yeah, and I might have it like a pause action that just lets them just do nothing for a moment. Which at the moment, like, you could just use shoot to have them stay still for a moment. But yeah, that looks good. Does that automatically add a thing? I'm going to make myself a new folder here for RoboParts. And just see if I can create a scriptable object. No, I think I need to add my menu. I need to set up my menu things, don't I? For that, which I have in another project. So let me just think a second. Yeah, okay. Just try and open a file that I think will have what I want. So we'll just jump out of command bots, do the image people directory here, and then in assets. So now look at the scripts here. And what I'm looking for is the here we go, scriptable objects. And let's just grab this one. And this is what I need. Create asset menu. I also need to set up my namespaces properly. I always kind of don't do that straight away, and probably should, because it makes for faster compilation, because you don't have to recompile all of Unity just because you're doing stuff in your own little bit of code that's getting added on top of it. There we go. So now we should have a RoboPart menu option that we can use to create those parts, choose where they go, and then the requirement is to go and set them up in the robot so that it will work. So let me try making a RoboPart, create scriptable objects. I should get that magnifier going, shouldn't I? I had that going last time over here. And did that even start opening? There it is. It's just taking a sweet time. I don't know if that's good or distracting. Let me know in chat if it is one or the other of those things. But where was I? Yeah, because I think that text is a bit small. So we go scriptable objects now, get RoboPart. So that's literally just added to there by this create asset menu here, which lets me make one of these scriptable objects, which are basically things you can edit in the inspector at development time laser. Laser stands for like light something something something. So like having an S or a Z is not a matter of opinion. It's like what's laser stand for? It's an S. It's not a Z. Z. It's just Z seems nice for it because it's like a zap. Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So, yeah. Which sounds fancy, but essentially it's just like, let's take something that we can put energy into somehow, and then it'll emit light that's all a particular frequency. Which is like, it's just basic chemistry stuff, or nuclear physics, one of those, where if you excite an electron, it jumps up to a higher shell, and then when it drops back down, the particular the difference in energy between those two determines the amount of energy in the photon that's emitted, and so that gives you your particular wavelength of photon. So you just need to find a way to do that. And apparently somebody did in whatever year it was when a laser was invented. And that was useful. Anyway, let's not go too much into that because we don't need to actually make real lasers work here. But we can spell it with an S because the S is for stimulated. And that is a completely innocent word, but it doesn't sound it. Yes, this is an arm thing. Although, how cool would it be to have laser eyes? I could have like eyes, nose, and mouth attachment points, and then you could have little eye lasers if you want. Anyway, this laser allows the shoot laser action. And interestingly, you could have different types of weapons that could all have a shoot action. So that might get revised at some point. Anyway, that's that one. Done. And now create a new one. Yeah, another robot part is going to be a shield. And the part name here is shield. And I just realized that the part here is a different name. But yes, this is an arm attachment. So I could kind of make them asymmetrical and give them like an arm that can hold shields and some other things, and another arm that can hold weapons. But I think it's probably more fun if I just let people make whatever combinations they like. And if that means double shield hands and then go and try and shield bash your opponents to death, then so be it. Right, what does the shield arm enable? That enables block. And I could do the legs. Yeah, let's do the legs. So we'll just there. I'll make a few different types of legs actually. So it's like standard legs. Yeah, that's the ones that I have now. And that will be a legs attachment. And that will enable walk forward, turn left, and turn right. There we go, and make like cheap legs, budget legs. That only let you walk forward. There, that's all that needs. All right, so we've got that. That's enough for now. If I get carried away, then I'll never actually get the system working. I'll just be too busy making different parts for it. I'm just going to get this little shield health bar out of the way. And I think I have a small explosion here. Just for prefabs. Okay, so I've got some basically part descriptions. And that's what this robo part is. And so now I'll get going with this robo blueprint. And what is this going to be? It's not going to be a mono behavior. It's just going to be a data holding thing, which means it doesn't need to be a class. It can be a struct. Nearly forgot the word for struct there. Don't mind me. I've only been coding in C# for geez. What year is it? I don't know. Between 16 and 20 years. I'll calculate it later. I don't know how old I am. 20-ish. It's got to be 20-ish, right? It's like the early 2000s at this point, is it? Okay, so what this blueprint has, we're going to have like upgrades and parts. And I'll just write what this is. And yeah, we don't need Unity Engine actually. Not doing any Unity Engine stuff. So yes, set of parts and upgrades for a robot. Oh, that makes up a robot. I could put the routine in here too, but I won't, and I won't do the upgrades right now, although they'd be so relatively easy to do. But I'll probably just go for that as a quick win next time, because I'm guessing that the parts will not will take up the rest of this this stream. Let's have a look though. So basically, because this is a struct, do I need to use the public modifier for structs? I have a feeling I still do. Anyway, this is, let's just go with like left arm. And right arm, well done. Autocomplete thingy. Got a legs part. So I won't have the code here that determines what you're allowed to attach. That will just be in the editor. And we're also going to have antenna. And I think we'll have, ooh, I was thinking of like a rocket launcher or something for the backpack, but it could also be a jetpack or a jump pack of some kind that lets them jump over, or something that gives them like a charge forward ability or something like that. Interesting. Yes, there are possibilities there. And let's go with the face sensors. I'm just going to boringly call these sensor 1 through to sensor 4. Why did you suggest sensor 2 and not sensor 4? Silly thing. There we go, I'll do it myself. I think that's everything, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Excellent. Yep, so this is like the torso, legs, head, and top of head. You could do all kinds of legs. You could have one that's just like a rolling ball or something. I think for the basic legs, I'll just make it like a single wheel that just rolls forward. A bit like, what's that? This little adventure game with a robot. I forget what that's called, but that's pretty cool. I'll look it up if I remember it. Yeah, so we've got our parts in here, so that's just literally describing that. And it is private, so yeah, I have to use the public keyword on all of those. It is an interface that is public by default because there's no point in putting something non-public in an interface. That would defeat the point of an interface. Okay, there we go. So now we've got all our different attachment points, and now we can go into the factory and give that a robo blueprint. Where am I going to put that? well, here's the routine. So I think let's put the blueprint with that. And some of these computations of costs are going to be dependent on that blueprint. So I'll probably have a bunch of methods that take a blueprint and return a cost, like an energy cost, a metal cost, so on. So I do want that to be public so that the editor can reach in and do that, do stuff to it, but let's just have it, just that getting set here. So let's do I want to be able to mess with that? Yeah, I guess so. See how well that works. Okay, so now we've got that blueprint in here. And I think we want a default blueprint, but I might be able to just set that in the prefab. So just grab my factory prefab and let's see what we've got here. Got our routine. And although it's serialized here, I guess it just does not know how to display a robo blueprint. I think I had something else like that, it wouldn't serialize unless I did something to it. Let me look that up again. Yeah, I can do it instead of this basic thing. Show struct inspector. Pretty sure it's just putting a serializable onto it like that. Sure, you're out of luck. Okay, no problem. I don't really need that in inspector, I think, although it might be slightly useful for debugging. It's not really a big deal. And I think I can just say just do a new one. Can you initialize structs like this? Okay, I have all these parts here, all these robo parts in there, and I need those to actually be available. So I need to put those somewhere. In order for them to be available. So I might need to rethink something here. Yeah, simplify that to just new. So that'll just default to being that. So yeah, I guess we're going to have some parts available from these parts. So the advantage of a scriptable object is that I can just go through and define all of these. For something as simple as this, might not be actually very great. The advantage would be if I was using it to set us right in there and other things like that. So, okay, let me just think about that a moment. I think in the in here I might just have like some defaults. That'll be a kind of hacky way to get working. Yeah, add part types. Cool. It's a hacky way, but if it works, it works. And this is going to be but these will be like serialized, so I can drag those in. Default left arm. And right arm. And default legs. Oh, this reminds me of another game concept that has modular parts, which is a platformer in a kind of dystopian world where you're a sort of dark Pinocchio type character, where you're sort of this little robot that wants to become real, something like that. But you essentially encounter enemies, some kind of beat 'em up or similar gameplay, and then you get their parts and swap them for your own. So, you know, your little robot arms might not be so good for what you want to do. You encounter an enemy with a gun, so you go beat them up, and then you can swap out your arm for their arm that has a gun, and then go and shoot the gun. Or a lot of the time, well, one of the ways that you'd get through an area would be defeat the boss, and then get their arm so that you can do the handprint scanner. Things like that. They're going to be pretty fun. Little thing. You know, defeat the frog enemy, get the jumpy legs so you can jump up out of somewhere. That kind of thing. Anyway, okay, so we got some places to put default things. I still don't have any way to actually process those things. I was thinking that I would get some kind of reloading domain stuff when I changed here, but I guess it was just so quick. Oh, it probably happened while I was talking. While I was monologuing, of course. Okay, so let's say left arm default is a laser. Right arm default shield. And the legs, let's default to some standard legs. That should do. Just there, and with those set, that should be good for me to get those. That robo blueprint just on start. I don't think I have a start yet. basically I'll just grab my blueprint dot right arm equals default right arm. Same for the left arm. And legs. Okay, so just set up that blueprint to have those parts, which right now does absolutely nothing because I didn't write the code for that yet. So what's next? Let's see. Where are these nulls coming from? Prefab import editor. Are they still happening? Let me just clear that and see if it comes up again. Cool, and I don't have any sprites or anything for the legs or for the laser, but that's okay for now. Even just having them enable the parts is good. And the sensors, I guess, won't really add anything visual to the robot necessarily. Well, they could. Doesn't really matter, actually. You can just have a game object that has the right name that'll be enabled or disabled. Okay, so now where are we? When we make a robot, we want to use those parts. And we also want to set them up in the editor. So for now, I'll just use the defaults to get these things set, and then let that do something. Just realized like there's only one laser and only one shield. So I might need to have like left and right arm versions of the shield. Definitely, I think I'll end up getting those parts added onto mount points and have the mount points be animated and just drag whatever parts attached with them. So when we're spawning the robot, that's when we need to use the blueprint. Spawn it in a container when I can be bothered finding it. Looks like it's spawning in robot container, so that is done. Nice work, me, on having finished the to-do in the past. Okay, so making a bot. And we're setting the routine. We're setting up whether it's an enemy, just based on whether it's an enemy factory. We play the spawn animation. And this is the right sort of place around to do set all parts. But let me just get that spawn animation happening at the end of there. And that's doing stuff with the shield. Cool. So we're going to do this exactly. I think this is going to be a much simplified version of this code. So at the moment, there's really nothing to do with the laser. It just spawns out of nowhere. So that's fine. I'll just leave that visually. Actually, I guess I can pretty much do all of this. So this is just setting that up to do that. Yeah, okay. So I think I'll probably have all of the parts disabled by default. And so what I'll do is I'll grab, I'll just write code for the left and right arms, I think. Okay, blueprint left arm, blueprint right arm. That's what we're dealing with. And parts. So I've just got here an array of all of the parts that are on there. So something like that. Because right now I'm not actually doing anything with attachment points specifically. They're just, they'll play a role in what you can select. So that gives me all of the parts. And so then I can just do, like, iterate through those. It's in of. Too many different programming languages. If I just used one, it would be simpler to remember. So yeah, this is where I want to basically get the part.name, part name. I'm going to find this as a child, which is basically that. Except instead of shield, it'll be part object. And instead of finding the string shield, it would be that part name. And then I would enable that. Oh. Wait, what have we got here? What is the type of this? It's a transform. Okay. So that's really transform. So we want the game object. There we go. So if all of them are inactive by default, then we activate the ones that are present. And do we need to do anything else? I don't think so. Oh wait, no, we do. Just literally this bit. Just setting the layer to enemy bot parts if it is an enemy bot. And that should replace this. I don't know why that white space is there. Goodbye, white space. And upgrades we do not have. And that's also, I think, just find throw null if none is found. If the part transform is equal to null, then we just want to go to the next iteration of this loop. Is that next? I'll break. What is the keyword in C# to go to next iteration of loop? Iteration of for each. There we go. Perfect. Continue. It's continue, isn't it? Continue. Yes. Good. So on continue. There we go. So yeah, basically, if that part even exists on there, which doesn't necessarily for these things, and so this is only really relevant to things that are visible and have thingies, colliders, and maybe rigid bodies on them, things that will have a physical or visual implements on stuff. So that looks good, I think. That's good as far as it goes. Let's test that. Now I can actually go to here, and my factory prefab would have made it so that and I will get to testing this in a second. Friendly factory. So this factory has laser shield standard legs. Let's go to this one here and just remove the shield. There. So that second factory there should have no shield. And let's give this one 2 shields, just make sure it doesn't break. That's where at this point that kind of won't really work. You'll pay for 2 shields, but you'll just get 1 because that's how it's set up. Instead of having a part prefab that then gets attached onto there. That's all right though. Fix that up in the near future. And let's give factory 3 the budget legs and nothing here. And that'll be useful in a little while to just check that the you can't have a shoot laser, or you can have his walk forward. So just make that be walk forward. I should also add a pause action, but anyway, let's just see what happens here. This sprite should just have no effect. That's this whole big thing here. That should have no effect on anything other than making it harder to see anything. Okay, bots are building. I like those progress bars. I can actually see when the bots will spawn. Okay, we got some broken things, so that's nice. That's a sarcastic nice, but with deadpan delivery, so there you go. Yeah, just here. All right. Oh, because some of these are not defined. If the part is null, and I do no parentheses in the right place, then don't do that loop. Don't mind me, I've only been writing code for decades. I'll get the hang of the basics eventually. Any minute now, in fact. Okay, just stop that, let it rebuild. All right. This thing is taking a long time to finish that 0 pixels worth of progress. Okay, clear that. Get that going again. Is there a shortcut to run game? I should learn what it is. Okay. So, what's okay? Now they all exist, but it looks like we have got too many shields showing here. Oh, that makes sense because the prefab with the shield, basically the robot prefab should have their shield not enabled. There's robot, there's shield, and there's not enabled. Laser gun. I should make a little sprite for this laser gun so that we can actually see it. That's a factory. That's our laser gun thingy. Did that not copy at all? Where was it? That's lasers. That's a factory. 7. Actually, yeah, that's fine over the top there. So just get that on there. Back to this layer and grab the brush with some color. And we can just do a thing that's sort of like that. Follow that. And yeah, I don't want anything too fancy here. Just do it like that for now. And then let's just do the old-fashioned way of removing stuff. Just leave a little bit of that. Okay, old-fashioned way sucks. Do we have this? Good. Good, 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 good. Can I select everything that's that color? That would be nice to do. Like, whether it's contiguous or not. Well, specifically when it's not contiguous. Okay, let's erase that and grab like those 2 colors. Just make the top bits nice and light, the bottom bits nice and dark. The underneath bits in here. Dark, I guess. Oh, that one went astray. There, that. Who knows how that's going to look. But it might look okay. And I'll give that the outline as well. So I'll just get rid of this other stuff. Can't even see the things on the top there. I'm sure there's a way that I can change the grey background. There's the outline color. Just grab that for here. Something went wrong. Did not get the outline color. Try again. All right, what's the big idea here? Seems like I am picking up that color there. Oh, okay. That's embarrassing. I had the eraser tool selected. Also, outlines don't work very well when these are so close together. Because, like, the outline just becomes a square in here. So I don't know if that's just not going to work or what to do there. Maybe I just include part of the outline like that. Yeah, maybe I'll do that for now. I could try and space them out a bit more to make it look better, but that's sort of... Nah, I'll include the whole set of bits in here and just deal with that. There. That is a laser gun. It needs like a glowy bit, doesn't it? Where's the robot gun? Right, it's 13, isn't it? And we'll get some of that as well. And pop that here, maybe. Lots of places a little bit of stuff could go. It's looking pretty fancy. Just get this across a little. Let's put it, I don't know, there we do. And do I maybe want to have these like start to wrap layout by rows? No. Fixed number of columns. How many columns would be good? 1, 2, perhaps even... I don't know how many I'm going to end up with. Yeah. But this would be a lot easier to work with. Let's go 8, actually, because 8's a good number. Just overall. So, oh hey, Omega Killer. Missed a few messages there. Am I a person who ignores warnings? I definitely do not have OCD, but I do have some tendency to want things to be right for non-OCD reasons. But I have a practical opinion of warnings and errors that comes from experience working with in teams. If you allow errors and warnings to, and even just logging to that are not relevant, that people should ignore, to be present in your builds or sort of in the console while you're doing stuff, the more of those you have, the more likely people are to miss real errors because they get in the habit of ignoring errors. So I don't like leaving errors and warnings around, if possible, because they tend to dilute the effectiveness of legitimate errors and warnings. But there is also a trade-off of sometimes it's just difficult to get rid of a warning or error. And next question, is Aseprite good? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's really good for what it does. And yeah, what it does is just little pixel art stuff. It's really like I'm kind of using this wrong. Like these are frames of in an animation, and I just wanted to put all my sprites in one file to make it quick to jump around editing them without managing a bunch of files. But I'm sure that I could be doing this a better way and having it work that way. I wouldn't like. It's got a few nice tools in it that are good specifically for making pixel art. Like I don't know about. Like I think there's just less mucking around, but you could probably achieve all of the same stuff using Photoshop or GIMP. And yeah, I've exported that, haven't I? So I should get over to slicing this sprite here. Yeah, that gives me the same sprite names. Yeah, but like if you're already proficient with Photoshop or GIMP, I'd say possibly go with those, but might be worth giving Aseprite a go. It definitely has some more advanced features that I have not used, but that will be very useful if I need to do some things, some specific things. So yeah, I knew I'd be doing a lot of pixel art, so I bothered learning how to use it to some extent. And there'll be more of that later. Okay, so where am I at now? I've got a laser thing. So just jump into, well, already got my robot prefab open there. Got my laser gun here, and I want to grab the laser gun and like put that on there. Got this sprite renderer with the laser gun. Actually, so the shield's got an issue where it has its just re-enable that. The shield's health bar is caused by it being a hittable object, and it's so just moving everything. Anyway, shield's health bar ends up being like here and or something like there and rotating with it. If I had a nested object that was animated, the health bar could just stay in one place. Anyway, I'm not going to try and solve that now, but this just happens to have made a nested thing here. And what are we doing? We've got snap on, so we can only move by that far. So let's just turn that snap off. Just put the laser. Oh, where's the laser gun actually? Like that is the point where laser beams spawn. this gun, this sprite here just wouldn't be involved in collisions because we've only got these colliders, so that's actually fine. I won't get like individual parts. Getting individual parts taking damage, unless it's something like a shield where that's its job, taking damage separately. Anyway, so we've got this sprite renderer default layer, order in layer 0. And then I've got this one here, sprite renderer default layer, order in layer 0. If I were to set that to 1, yeah, that would do that. Does it look any good? I don't know. But I guess where's the spawn point for laser beams? There. I might actually just move that down a little, just so that it's just so that this can go up a bit. And they'll be in about the right place. And I will actually put that one behind again, because that can be the left arm right now. And yes, if I had some fancy graphics, I could animate it. Oh, actually, maybe I will anyway, just because I can. Here. Multiple monitors. It's dropping the menu over on the other monitor over there, and I don't want it to. It doesn't do it if I'm somewhere over here. Interesting. Anyway, a fire laser. That one's with the Z. So this one actually just doesn't do anything, right? I think just holds position. But I could add. Oh, come on! I don't want stuff over on that monitor. Let's just move this across here. See if that fixes that. Seriously? It's putting it on every other monitor but this one. I go over there and it's saying, oh yeah, we'll get it on that other monitor for you. Okay, anyway, we want laser gun, sprite, and I might just sprite something. I can't even see what that is because it's like truncated down. I know. If I move that somewhere else, there we go. But let me just rename this. Laser gun sprite. And so what I want to do is get something in that sprite renderer. We can change the color or something else related to its appearance. Like this should be fine though. Is that going to add? Oh, if I press the little plus there, yes. Okay, so what I want to do here is, this is the point where it fires the laser. So I could add a keyframe here. Oops. Just delete the keyframe for other stuff. Oops. That's, yeah, just a keyframe there. And maybe another one over here. And here. So it'll just have the default color just there. And then we'll just go into our record mode. And here, I can grab that and change the color in some way. Make it all blue, maybe? Does that make any difference? Yes, it does. Good. And then these numbers I would think would be changing. Oh. Oh, it's got all the colors for some reason. Did I just accidentally add the wrong property? Let me just stop recording here and just remove that property. And yeah. So here, this point, not blue. Then it goes blue. And then just here, we'll do something else to it. Can we maybe do some kind of like it goes like that when the laser's going out. And then we go to the next keyframe, which we want to have here. So then we go to that keyframe and we'll just make it like that again. Yep. And then at the end, back to white. So how does that look? Looks a bit weird. But it is doing something. But basically, I just maybe could move that right up next to there, so it's more of a quicker flash of color. But then what's it actually doing at this point? Like, I think at that point it should be, yeah, just 111. And it should be 111 as well. So here it should be like max brightness, just blue. Next frame goes dark, one after that. Max brightness just blue. And then back to that. Okay, let's see. I need to enable color values greater than 100% so that I can add glow. But I'll do that another time. Anyway, that's good. We've got a thing there, and now I just need to make sure that that robot part for the laser is actually called laser gun. Then it will enable that or disable it. Okay, let's see what that does. Oh, and I'm out of time too. So I guess I'll continue this next time. I'm not too surprised. There we go. That one's got a little laser gun on. Oh, I forgot to disable the parts. Hang on a second. Need to update that prefab. Right there. So I probably will, instead of just turning all of these off, I might change it around so that they're so that I can leave them on in the prefab, and it'll go through all the parts and disable or enable them depending on what's needed. Okay, so what's here? Let's just pause a second and see what's actually spawned. We've got these guys. Oh, nobody's got a laser gun visible, have they? So why would that be? It should have a laser left or right arm. And should be finding that part name. Let's just log that. There. Finding this part to activate, and it's just activating one of those that it has found. Okay, cool. So I'll just double check that part for the laser. It is called laser gun. It's called laser gun there. So that should match. And so just stop and restart that. Hopefully something in the logging will say what's the deal. And then I better end the stream, whether or not I figure it out. I hate not figuring things out, but yeah, we'll leave it. Maybe I'll try and sneak in an extra stream sometime. Okay, as soon as we spawn all these robots, we're going to get loads of logging. So it's got shield. Okay, wait. Yes, it spat out a whole lot of ones. Okay, laser gun to activate. Activating laser gun. Should have activated. Shield. Activating shield. Standard legs. Yeah, they're not finding standard legs, of course. Let's have a look at an actual robot. That's an actual robot that maybe should have that should have a laser. So that robot should have a laser on it. What have I got selected here? The health bars. There we go. So the laser gun is here, and the laser gun sprite is right there, and that is just behind the background. Okay, it's just the Z position of it is wrong. So that's good. So I'll just get the prefab directly. That laser gun. Okay, so the Z of the shield is -1, isn't it? But the laser gun is at 0 and the robot is at -1. That should be at -1 as well. And then the render order puts it behind, so that's fine. Why does the render order put that one behind? Oh well, there we go. Should be working. I possibly could get rid of that random robot. There we go. We've got laser, laser, not laser. And we get that back into 2D, but also so we've got 2 with lasers, 2 without lasers, and then 4 with lasers, and go back into the game. And I forget which ones I set up. But yes, shield, shield. I think the default is shield and laser, so that's what all those have. And this one's got neither. That one's got just shield. That one's got just laser. And that one has both. Does that seem right? So grab those factories. First factory. Laser and shield. Just laser. 2 shields. It just means it has a shield. Neither. And that's all we got, I think. Everything else is just default. So that's cool. It's not actually affecting what you can select, but that'll be for next time. So we'll put that in this to do here. I could just make a thing that has an array of strings on there. Add shield part plus action. I've done that. So let's change that to yeah. Show robo parts in editor, or just add. Add robot blueprint editor UI, so it'll be like a pop-up where you can choose the parts per slot somehow, and you'll be able to set the upgrade level of different things. And another item is could be compute robot costs based on blueprint. So that'll be, right now it's all just the base costs. It'll then have a cost for each resource for the blueprint. All right, I better end it there and get out of here because here is me being awake and I need to be asleep. So thanks for watching. Tune in next time in, I don't know, what day is this? In 2 or 3 days, whatever the schedule says. And we'll get these parts working even better. And then I'll actually be ready to just make a bunch of parts. That'll be really fun. Thanks for watching. And